All right, guys, we are here for the next round, round 4, with the list that you see on screen right in front of us. That's right, we're playing some Flippin Amulet, a bit of a unique deck list. Check out match 1 for the details. And yeah, we are currently 2-1 with this list, and I'm excited to get into the games. Hopefully we can get a 3-1, but every time I say that, I end up losing the match, so I'm just going to jump straight into the games. I'll see you guys there. All right, looks like we have a match. Just in case you didn't notice, of course, just need to make sure that you guys are appraised. Playing as Hummingbird. Be on the play, of course. What do you take me for? And this hand looks eerily similar to a hand I kept before, where we Glasspool mimicked a Dryad in order to cast Titan that turn, and then got dismembered and lost both the Dryad and the Mimic. But, I mean, what can I say? I'm a glutton for punishment. We have a Garenbrig, we have Valakut to go along with this Dryad, we have an Amulet. What else could we possibly need? Other than a Titan, of course. So yeah, I'm willing to keep this one, I think, and probably lead on the Garenbrig here, I would imagine. And we're done. That's it. It's over. See what our opponent's playing, as they play an Urza's Tower. Okay. Yeah, let's just, play out some lands here, just doing the thing. We can yield to this as long as we have a single Amulet. Pass it back. We need a Titan. Titan is the card we're looking for. Luckily, we get to play Dryad into Glasspool Mimic this upcoming turn. Whoa, 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 whoa. Say what? Clearwater Pathway? Is this mono blue Tron? Excuse me? Well, that is very different. We draw a Tangled Florahedron. Interesting. So, we're playing something into Remand here. If we go for a bounce land, I guess... This person knows who I am. Interesting. I might have to hide the chat here in a second, but apparently this person is familiar with me, which is very interesting. Oh, okay, yeah, I know who this person is. Alright, I'm gonna hide the chat here. I can't get the game log back, but that's okay. We'll make it do. Our opponent's on Mono Blue Tron here. Yeah, I kind of don't want to just get time locked, but I guess we can go for one of these bounce lands and pick up, say, the Valakut and still not get behind on mana, which is kind of weird. Although we'll have a mana that we're not using. Very weird. I think I'm just going to play the Florahedron here. Save the fact that we have a bounce land for a later usage. We can use this to cast a Titan this upcoming turn, I suppose. And let's lead on the Courser here, I suppose. In case this gets countered, we'll still have Dryad, although, of course, we have a Dryad on top, naturally. But yes, opponent, I do see you. I know exactly who you are, and I'm glad to be playing against you. I didn't even know that you had Magic Online. So anyways, that's enough awkward talking to one specific person in a YouTube video. So let's not continue that particular strategy. And yeah, I mean, I guess here we're just slamming a Dryad into Condescend. We can play around Condescend for 2 by playing a bounce land here, which I think is probably worth it. We'll get an additional bounce land to get this Tolaria West off the top of our deck once our Dryad resolves, so I'm okay with it. Let's play the Gruul Turf in case they decide to Field of Ruin. We'd like to have our Tolaria West and mana here. Not get cut off of Tolaria West mana, of course. Let's float. I guess at this point we're just picking up the Veil. Might want to commit the threat. Although I suppose the Field of Ruin will get rid of our bounce land in hand, so maybe... let's just pick up the Veil. It's probably fine. And here's the Dryad, playing around Condescend. Not playing around Remand. That one's fine. Well, now we'll just play the Tangled Florahedron, I dare say. And clock with the Courser. It's okay to have a Tolaria West in hand here, rather than in play. Don't mind it at all. And this is exactly the reason why we picked up the Florahedron instead of picking up the bounce land here, is because we'd like to make progress on our land drops here. There was a possibility that our opponent interacted, and in fact they did, so... And they do go ahead and Field of Ruin. They don't want us to have access to this T West. I can't imagine why. We'll get a cool basic land here. Our opponent has a pretty cool basic land themselves, the old Whirlpool. Looks dangerous. Hey, we get to gain a life. That is value. Alright. We'll draw the Mimic. And of course we have a Talari West on top yet again. We can do the same thing we did last turn and play around remand actually by playing a bounce land here and floating the mana, having 3 mana to just go ahead and slam a Dryad into play. I guess we want to play a land first in case they have like a Dismember, which it is very possible they have in the main board. I don't know how many you would play in Mono Blue Tron. It's been a while since I looked at updated deck lists here, but... And of course we want to keep access to our bounce land here, so here goes the Dryad. We'll leave the blue floating so that we can cast a Mimic. And let's just go ahead and do that. Sure. Rifting the Dryad. Okay. Well, at least we have a Courser to copy. Heck yeah. Value. Alright, and let's just go ahead and clock for 2. Pass it back. Our opponent is on double Tron land over here. Not really ideal for them, although, to be honest, setting up Tron is the second priority when you're playing a mono blue Tron deck, so not that terribly... My bad. Triple Tron lands over here. This opponent is uniquely lucky over here. Man, they have 3 Urza's Towers. That's 3 times as many as 1. That's 3 times as good, right? Okay. Are we going to get punished for playing a land before playing our Dryad here, or are we going to continue to not get value off of our Courser prefixes? I suppose we can actually activate Garenbrig to cast double Dryad, which is pretty hilarious, if I must say. Our opponent isn't probably playing anything like Cryptic Command, so not that they could cast it anyways, but let's just go ahead and get some of our Courser value here with an Amulet on top. Very interesting. I don't know how we've managed to accrue such value already. Let's just go ahead and attack with the 2 Coursers, leaving up the Florahedron to activate our Garenbrig here. We may need to think about playing around O-Stone, but a little unclear at this point. We could also just... Nah, there's nothing we could really do here. I suppose we can play 1 Dryad, and then play Growth Chamber and Transmute Talari West for Summoner's Pact. That way we're not overcommitting into a board sweep effect. I don't mind that. Okay, let's give that a shot. I think we've played into Condescend for 3. Yep. Could have played around that, but that's okay. Do we still have a land drop? I think we already played for turn off the top of our deck. Okay, well, I guess we're just passing it back. I mean, we still have a decent board here. Our opponent could be slamming a Worm Coil Engine very soon. Or, I guess not. They have another map, so they have Tron here. That is kind of problematic, and we don't have a Ghost Quarter to deal with this board state. Hanweir off the top. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and slam a Dryad here. We'll probably play the Hanweir first. So I guess first things first, let's attack with everything. If we don't attack with a Florahedron, then we can play around Condescend for 2. Let's see, we put our opponent to 8, which is not functionally different than 7. So yeah, let's just attack with the Coursers. And we can play land. We might actually be able to play Glasspool as a copy of Dryad, which would be interesting. Alright, let's play our land first things first. I don't know if there's any point in playing out this amulet first. All right, let's get this Dryad into play. All right, and it just snap resolves. Let's get some more value off the top of our deck, I suppose. And since some Valakut triggers upstairs, let's just go ahead and save targets these to make it easy. It's not... There we go. For some reason, my mouse is not wanting to click. We'll always yes, always yield here. Oh, forgot to always yes this one. Alrighty, and now I guess we can just slam Mimic, and if they don't have Condescend, then they lose. Or we could just wait. I think it's probably correct to just slam Mimic here. We don't want to let our opponent untap with Tron, and if they do have to respond here, they have to crack their map during their turn, which is a very small victory, but it is relevant. Alright, Gruul Turf off the top. Stack all the triggers. Alright, so we got game 1. I feel like that was very close. Alright, so against Mono Blue Tron, they're unlikely to play things like Snapcaster Mage or Torrential Gear Hulk. If they do, they only play a few, so I'm not actually a huge fan of Relic here. We obviously want Ghost Quarter. We might want Reclamation Sage to blow up like a Wormcoil Engine or a Oblivion Stone. Force of Vigor, maybe. Excavator seems pretty decent. Dismember, not worth it. Negates are going to be good for pushing our stuff through counter magic. They could have Karn the Great Creator, in which case we would want Force, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that one in. Razor, not really very good against a control deck. Losing a card to go up a land is good in fast matchups where you have a temporary advantage that you can convert into a real advantage, but against a control opponent, where you may not even resolve your Titans in the first place, going down a card is not really ideal. Let's see, what else? Our opponent could have Ashiok. It's a little less common, considering it's difficult for Mono Blue Tron to handle more than one blue pip in your sideboard's casting costs. But they could have Ashiok, it's possible. I think it's more likely they're on multiple copies of Aether Gust. Let's see. Perhaps a Garenbrig could be cut. We know that we don't have to play around something like Damping Sphere. They wouldn't cut off their own Tron lands, so I could see cutting the Garenbrig here. And something else. Glasspool Mimic is kind of a weird one against them. It relies on us already having a threat in play. I think that's fine. Florahedron is probably alright. It's a little unimpactful, but I mean, is it better than a Mimic? Probably. Alright, I'm going to submit it like this. I guess maybe Relic could be good against specifically Academy Ruins, but I don't know that it's worth it for just that. Our opponent's definitely not going to be playing something like Mystic Sanctuary. It wouldn't make sense for them to be playing a Sanctuary, in my humble opinion, but then again, I am not a Mono Blue Tron player, so I could be proven wrong. On the draw. Man, we've already lost. And we have a hand with lands, an amulet, negate for interaction if we can draw any blue land, and a Courser. I mean, Courser's fantastic in this matchup, so I'll keep it. We'd like to draw any blue land here. Talari West, the Mimic, Simic Growth Chamber, something along those lines. As our opponent leads on Tronland Map. It's very intriguing. Well, this is fantastic because now we have a turn 2 Courser. Of course, our opponent will have up Condescend or Remand here, so unless they just play second Tronland Pass, okay. It's not actually very common, in my opinion, to have access to Tron on turn 3 in Mono Blue, and I also don't even know how well our opponent will be able to make use of it, but we shall find out. If we play the Mimic tapped, we could have Negate up for a non-creature spell, but in all honesty, the non-creature spell we care most about, other than Karn the Great Creator, is likely to be Ugin, which they can't cast this upcoming turn. We can also help preemptively answer a Karn by playing out a Courser to clock the Karn, so I'm not inclined to hold up Negate here. It's a little annoying that we lose access to Bounce Land here with our Amulet, but I think we just have to get this Courser into play while we can, so And I'm definitely not going down a land drop here to pick the Gruul Turf back up. It's just not worth that. All right. And that's the turn, and now we can hold up and negate this upcoming turn if we want to, and if our opponent does something that we need to Reclamation Sage this upcoming turn, then we can deal with it that way. There's the tower that I'm certainly mapped for, and there's the Karn the Great Creator that we were anticipating. They are immediately minusing, not super surprising here. If they get a coating, they can stop us from casting anything this upcoming turn. So, there's that. And a Dismember. Yikes. Okay. Well, our plan against Karn is no longer on the table, so... And now we're just in a ton of trouble. We have to play this Mimic out as a sure, I do believe. That way, if our opponent doesn't just immediately blow up our Gruul Turf, then we might be able to negate something, but we're in a lot of trouble in this particular game, as you can probably guess. Vote the mana, let this happen. I doubt that our opponent will play anything into our mana that we floated, but we'll see. Goodbye, Gruul Turf. Hardly ever knew ye. Of course, our opponent is getting it out of this particular main phase. Here comes Thirst for Knowledge. Okay, that one, I mean, we still need to try to make progress here, which is going to be nearly impossible losing land every turn, so I don't really know what the plan is. Another Amulet is not the worst, actually. We'll go ahead and play that one out, I suppose, and a basic land. Means that we could cast a course at this upcoming turn. Oh no, our activated abilities can't be activated. How are we ever going to use our Amulet? Our opponent is hitting every stride in their game plan here. Overloaded Cyclonic Rift. Ouch. Chalice on 1. Rude. Rude. Yep. Well, I think we're just about ready to scoop this game up. Florahedron. I mean, we can technically keep playing with that. Okay, sure. If we win this game, it'll be a miracle, so just saying that now. Hey, we have a 1/1. We can clock Karn for 1 every turn while we lose a land. That's pretty good, right? Alright. So an untapped source means that we can Rec Sage away the coding. Another Dismember. Okay. We'll take one last draw step and scoop it up. Alright. Seen enough of this. Alright, let's go to the sideboarding again. See if we want to change anything. Now that we have guaranteed proof that our opponent is on Karn, I don't know if that changes much. We definitely don't want to be relicking away their artifacts into exile where they can retrieve them. Not really the plan here. Still not sold that Grazer is good here. We'll still be able to play a turn 2 3-drop underneath a Remand if we do happen to have an Amulet. I don't know, maybe getting underneath Remand early is important enough to have Grazer? It's a very weird situation. I think maybe on the play we do want Grazer, but I'm a little afraid of drawing these in the late game. We definitely don't want 4 if we're bringing them in, but having something to play on turn 1 seems pretty important here, and Florahedron not really showing its teeth here. I'm okay with switching some Florahedrons for Grazers, just because we're on the play, and maybe we get this other Mimic out of here. Not super impressed by it. Sure. We'll run it back. On the play. Let's go. We got a Cavern, that's pretty good. We do have... we would have a turn 2 3-drop if we had a bounce land, but we don't. We still get to run Amulet into 2-drop if we draw it, or a bounce land to play a 3-drop into a uncounterable thing on turn 3, which is probably good enough. I think we keep this. We also have access to a Titan here, so a bounce land makes this hand pretty live, although we don't have any way to get accelerated land drops here. If only Corsair let us play additional lands, just like Dryad or Azusa. That would be a little too good, though, right? Right, let's lead on the Amulet here, not showing our opponent the Cavern until the last possible second. They don't need to know about this one. Tron land, map again. Okay. Well, an early Karn might be pretty good against us. There's a Dryad. That one will lead to a faster Titan here. Still not inclined to show our opponent this Cavern, so let's just play this Sanctuary here and pass it back. I suppose now even if we were to lose our Amulet somehow, which I can't envision a particular way that would happen, but if we were, then we could still cast a 3-drop through Counter Magic this upcoming turn. Second Amulet. Not quite the one that we were hoping for. Now, we need to decide if we're trying to get this Corsair into play. What creature type is it anyway? Centaur. If we're trying to get a Corsair or a Dryad into play. I think Corsair makes more sense because obviously we're lacking lands. But Dryad is more impactful. I think I'm going to go for the Corsair, though. You know, just your typical Cavern on Centaur. You know, no big deal. Totally normal things happening over here. And we do have a land on top, which is nice. They're repealing our Amulet. It's okay, we have 2 of those anyways. Chalice on 1. Okay, well, that's not quite as okay. But we may be off of the Amulet plan anyways, as we do hit a land off the top here. Let's go ahead and play that one out. Gain our life. Man, we just drew 2 cards with this Corsair if this Dryad resolves. Are we risking this Dryad getting... Oh, no, they don't even have Condescend up. Okay, what am I saying? Dryad into play. Another land off the top. We are not taking the damage as our Amulet would get countered anyways. We'll crash for 2. Yep, this is the power of Corsair right here. We just drew 2 cards for free. That's pretty good. We just undid what our opponent's Chalice on 1 did to us. Here comes the Dismember on our Dryad. Interesting choice. Alright. Now what? Ghost Quarter. Let's continue to take our free lands. Seems good to me. And are we just doing it? Are we just slamming a Primeval Titan? There's no way it works. Our opponent can Condescend for 3, but luckily we have that one covered. So let's just go ahead and get an Excavator into play. Might as well commit a threat. And we'll attack. And I guess we're just passing. Definitely no reason to cast these Amulets into the Chalice as of right now. If we get to the point where we're holding cards in hand, we might cast... Actually, I guess casting them is the same as just discarding them, so maybe not. Our opponent has Tower. Okay. Let's just untap here before we figure out what we're doing. Rule Turf on the top. It might be better to just Ghost Quarter 2 Tron lands here. Just hit the mine twice. We're not really making land drop progress that way. We could also start triggering Field by playing Field into the bounce land off the top. Actually, no, we only get 1 land drop this turn anyways, so... kind of rough. I think it's probably better that way than anything else, though, so let's just immediately throw the Ghost Quarter at one of the mines. We can get it back, presumably with the Excavator, before committing the attack. Ghost Quarter from the graveyard. And let's go to the begin combat phase. And here, before... Well, it didn't let us, but let's just go ahead and attack with both. And we'll just go ahead and Ghost Quarter the mine now. So, I don't know. I would have done it in begin combat, so they wouldn't have the extra mana during this particular phase, but that's okay. Definitely into taking our opponent out of Tron territory here. I guess they could still find a map for a mine and then No, they wouldn't be able to play both, though, so nah, we're good. Pass it back. Here goes that map. See what our opponent finds. They get a Field of Ruin. Very interesting. I mean, I don't think I mind a Field of Ruin, to be honest. We'll see. Our opponent has a plan here, I'm sure of it. And they did play the field. Don't think we need to worry about playing Ghost Quarter here, so let's, I mean, I guess we don't want to commit our field into our opponent's open Field of Ruin, so there's that. Can't transmute Tolaria West. Don't really want to expose it to the field either, though. I mean, we do have a pact. When are we actually casting this Titan? That's the question. I guess we're not casting it before we need to, so let's just gain our life real quick here. We'll play out a Garen Brig. That seems fine. And now we'll go ahead and attack. Of course, now it stops in beginning combat. Alright, alright. I mean, we could cast a post-combat Titan here, but nah, I guess not. Really trying to play around this Condescend that our opponent most likely has. Getting our Titan Condescended. Remanded might be okay. Condescended, none of that. None of that. We don't even want to give our opponents the Scries. And apparently they're just dead to our Ramanop and Courser. Just going the distance with these two X's. Alright, well, that was a pretty fun match, in my opinion, and I hope my opponent agrees. And yeah, pretty convincing. Courser doing tons of work. Courser's obviously been insane in this build. Let me know if you think likewise, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We are currently 3-1. How about that? Alrighty, guys. This is Redface Menace, signing off.